I have to sit up properly.
Test.
Okay, we'll make
Are we the same volume?
You're so great right now. This is so chaotic.
Brad,
wait, have you ever interviewed a duo?
Have you ever DM'd before?
What does that mean?
Dungeon Master.
I was telling my friend how the best DM session we ever had was with Brad and how it was fleeting and will never occur again.
Never again.
Never again.
Hi, I'm Brad. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Florida.
I am currently in St. Louis,
Victoria, BC.
And wherever you are, welcome to Blond Radio. Hi, I'm Brad. I live on the west coast of Canada. I love a good London fog and quality time with the people I care about. And welcome to Blond Radio, where every week I book calls with strangers from around the world. Today we'll talk to Elise, a student whose life has taken some turns in lockdown, Julie, a visual artist who's pursuing her craft despite all else, and Quinn and Louise, two of my very closest friends who graciously filled in after some last-minute scheduling conflicts this week. But first, this week at Blond Radio on Instagram, I gave you a prompt. How do you see silver linings? Here's what you had to say.
Hey, my name is Andrew and I'm calling you from the capital of Ukraine. And I see silver linings like a good side of any bad situation in your life. Even the worst, the depressive moments of your life has a good side, and at least it is an experience. With experience, your life will be a lot more easier and better because you will know what to do at a similar situation.
Hi, my name's Caroline. I'm calling from Toronto, Ontario. The way I see silver linings, I feel like I've been noticing a lot of them recently. Sometimes I feel bad about it because a lot of them have come from COVID, the way that it's changed my life. So with things, I've been super sad because a lot of stuff in my life changed and got canceled and I didn't get to go to university, but I guess I've been seeing the silver linings and things like things I've been able to do in my free time and the connections I've been able to make with people, as well as how I've grown. Just basically looking at the positive in a situation and how they can outweigh the negative a little bit.
Hi there, I'm Tena. I'm calling from Croatia. I see the silver linings by remembering what my mom said to me before she died. She said, nothing lasts forever. When something good happens, enjoy it as long as it lasts. And also, when something not very nice happens to you, be aware of the fact that it won't be that way endlessly. That's why I have nothing lasts forever tattooed in Croatian, to always remember to see the good, enjoy it, and maybe to close one eye when something bad happens, as it won't be that way forever.
Thanks to everyone for submitting the responses, and we'll hear more answers throughout today's show. Hello.
Hello.
Howdy, how's it going?
It's going.
It's something, is what it is.
It is.
Awesome, perfect. And okay, I feel like you go by Ellie, but I always call you Elise. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally fine though. Like, I only go by Ellie when I first started online communities, but I do usually go by Elise. Like, I usually change it halfway through, but since almost everyone knows me by Ellie now, I'm just I'm going with it.
Yeah. Does it feel like you're two separate personas, like you're online and offline, or do you feel like you're pretty consistent throughout?
That's a really interesting question that I don't know how to answer. I guess in general, I'm kind of a pretty outgoing person, and I think it kind of stays consistent.
Right.
But I think in general, I'm definitely a lot more toned down outgoing.
Sure.
Than online.
Yeah.
So
maybe a bit more space to experiment and stuff and be more out there.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Well, off the bat, first of all, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Florida in the United States.
Really? Okay. I don't know why I placed you in North Carolina or something. I don't know. All the states, they blend together for me.
It's okay because Peach thought I was in Greece for some reason.
Oh, wow.
So
you should have just rolled with that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I guess give me the elevator pitch on you. Tell me who you are, what you do, and what got you to where you are today.
So I have had a kind of crazy upbringing.
I have 3 older brothers. That's definitely contributed to like my personality now. Has definitely made me want to be like more authoritative and like not want to handle anyone's bullshit.
Right.
Because my brothers are all just like, they picked on me growing up, but like now like that I'm older, they've come to like not pick on me as much. And we're like almost at an understanding now that we're all like older now and we don't need to pick on each other to have that relationship. Other than that, I'm pretty like family centered. I don't.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like it's just been a big, huge part of my childhood, like just family this, family that. But lately, actually, I've been like kind of getting away from that. It's kind of weird because quarantine, like you're trapped with your family. Like you'd think like it would bring you closer together, but it's kind of done the opposite for me because I started quarantine off. It was me, my mom, my dad, and one of my brothers. My brother got annoyed with me very quickly, so that kind of stopped. It was like, okay, hi, how are you doing? Like we acknowledge each other's existences, and then he kind of was like, okay, I'm gonna do my own thing. And I was like, cool, I'll join a Discord server instead. Because of COVID, it's been really weird, just in general. But I feel like I remember someone did an interview with you. I can't remember who exactly it was. They talked about their chosen family. And that's been really like hitting home with me the past few months. Because I've been realizing my family won't be there. Like I can't rely on my family for everything. Like I will eventually get to a point where I will be on my own, possibly in like a whole different city, and I can't call mom or dad or my brother saying like, hey, I have a problem, can you come fix it? So I need to like learn how to interact with the people around me and grow with them and make them become my family instead of relying on the people I already have.
And that sense of community, because as you said, you're pretty family centric, but now in this confined space, you're like, oh shoot, it would be beneficial to have like, as you're speaking to, like a chosen family.
Yeah.
Of course, just want to say, really appreciate you having you in our Discord server. You've just been such a light and such a positive energy. It's just always great to see you on and talking to people. It's very wholesome.
Yeah, I love it. It's seriously like brought so much joy to the past 2 months that I can't even like describe how much like it's changed me. Like especially the people on it.
Yeah. That's so sweet. They're some of the best people I know, and I'm just so blessed to know them. And did you finish watching a rewatch of The Last Airbender on the stream? Is that what you were doing recently?
So, The Last Airbender is a show I grew up with. Like, me and my brothers, that was like our show we would watch when it was coming out. So when it came out on Netflix, I binged it all in probably 3 days.
Wow.
And so that was the start of quarantine, and I was technically still in school, but not much schoolwork was done those 3 days.
I can imagine.
So I completely fell in love with the series like all over again. And it just hit home with me a lot because that's another thing, like chosen family. That's a big thing with Avatar because should I go into this? Because I don't want to spoil anything for people if they haven't watched it.
Oh, I feel like most people know that it's like, even by like the middle / last third, it's come to a point of like, it's the group, the group of misfits that have come together.
Yeah, and that's honestly like just so endearing because like it's the people that aren't the main characters that you wouldn't expect, well, except for Aang, but just a ton of different people from like a ton of different like communities that just came together to create this group of people that work together so well. I got sidetracked.
No,
sorry.
It's very beautiful. And I think that's like, I can see why it resonates so much more, especially with like online communities, because it's this community tale. So glad that we're able to exist in a time where it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the Discord though, Cameron hasn't watched Avatar before. Yeah, so when I found that out, I was like, what the fuck? I need to fix this. Ryan is also very obsessed with it. Me and Ryan kind of bonded over that to begin with. We started watching it with Cameron, but more recently, like, we've all kind of gone back into school, and so it's kind of slowed. So we're probably only about halfway through the first season.
Right. But
we're slowly, surely getting there.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll make it. And of course, it's the journey. It's not the destination.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And as you mentioned in your initial message when you messaged me, you mentioned having an interesting outlook on life, and maybe some of the experiences you've gone through have like forced or like catered this perspective that you have. What approach do you take to living?
That's another thing. Like, COVID's completely like thrown the beginning of the year. I would probably say like, oh, my goal is to get good grades in high school and then go to a good college and then get a good job so I can have a good life.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, now after like COVID and like how much like it can change everything, I've just been like, what's kind of the point in going to college and then just being stuck under one job the rest of your life? Like, why can't I travel, and then maybe like if I'm ready to settle down, I'll go to college and I'll get a job with that profession. But currently I'm honestly just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah.
Because especially with school now, and since I got COVID, it's been very hectic because I started out my school year doing an online version of school, but then I realized I couldn't have one of like my major classes that I needed. So my parents were trying to get me back onto in-person, and I finally got back to in-person last week, and then I got COVID this week.
Yeah.
So I'm back into online, but all my classes have already all been switched around. So I am currently kind of freaking out because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing for any of that, which kind of throws into like this is not in my control. I just need to like see where this takes me, because like obviously it's all going to work out in the end. I just need to like put my faith in the people that this falls into.
And what plays into that? Like you're saying, like it's all going to work out in the end. How do you hold on to that?
There's some stuff in my childhood that wasn't the best. So I took that experience, and because of that, I've realized that even though like something might seem stressful, like when you're going through it, there are people around you, and there are people that care about you enough that you can go to and talk to if you're not doing okay. They can reassure you that you're going to be okay. And even if they don't know what you're going through, they'll still be there for you like a rock in a storm.
Yeah. Just
honestly, the people around me are what get me through this. Like, especially right now, like school and everything is stressful. Having COVID is stressful. But the people around me are ultimately what have been getting me through the past 7 months.
Yeah. I can imagine. And yeah, that kind of ties in nicely with like, it's kind of about community. It is about the people you surround yourself with.
100%.
Yeah. Start of early, maybe January, February, March. Before this whole project started, I was involved in a kind of separate, smaller online community. It was, I think, driven more by a desperation to connect. Like we only logged on and chat each other because we had no one else, and that kind of bred a lot of unpleasantries. But like if you are intentional with the people that you're with, if you're actively seeking out people that will uplift you and you uplift them, that's just going to multiply. I truly believe.
Yeah, and that's why I love the Blond Discord so much, because everyone, like, especially, the people that are active, because they're, like, always talking. Or you could be in class, and you'll be saying, like, oh, I hope everyone has a good day, because half of us are still just waking up.
Exactly.
Honestly, that puts a smile on my face, like, every single time, because there are people that care about everyone in the server. Even if they're doing something, they'll take time out of their day to, like, make sure everyone else is happy.
Oh, it's so lovely. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Elise, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your day to speak with me.
Yes, of course. It was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. In closing, to wrap this up, I was wondering, because you've always struck me as someone who tries to see the best in the world around you. What advice would you give to people trying to see the world in a better light?
Just remember that if you're going through something, even if it doesn't seem like it is temporary. The way I see the world is that there are going to be people that do their best and try their hardest to bring you up. And then they're going to be like the select few people that are going to be temporarily in your life that are kind of just filling a placeholder. You have to stick with the people that are going to bring you up. Those people will positively influence your view on everything, because you know that they're going to be there for you and that you're always going to have someone, so you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. So you can focus on the beauty of the world around you, like, and find the smallest things beautiful. Like it rains every day in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So like me looking outside and like watching the rain, like I remember that it brings life to all the vegetation in Florida. So just seeing like the beauty in the little stuff is honestly a big part of it.
Yeah, that's so important. Because as you're speaking to, that it's to an extent, it's very temporary as far as like even just give it time, just give it space, and it'll change in one way or another.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Thank you again so much for your words and everything.
Yeah, of course. It was awesome. Thank you for having me again.
I'll be around, so I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Have a great day, Brad.
Hey, you too. Ciao.
Bye.
Hey Brad, I'm Sophia, calling from upstate New York. The way I see silver linings is realizing that people's true colors come out when faced with challenges. For me, recently during quarantine, I've been seeing the people who actually care and want to reach out even though it may be difficult and there might be reschedulings and we have to wear masks and be abiding by safety precautions. The people who really care shine through and they've been stepping up for me.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing so good. Julie, I'm so glad we could connect. Thank you for coming through on this.
Yeah, of course. It's crazy how this actually worked out. I wasn't expecting for me to have any openings today or for you to actually be available to do this so late. I guess it's not late where you are.
Yeah, the trick is I just don't sleep and we make everything work. Yeah.
Oh, that works. Yeah.
Cool. And where are you calling from?
I am currently in St. Louis. I'm at my studio right now. I was born and raised in St. Louis. Only moved away for undergrad to another place in Missouri. So I've always been in Missouri.
Awesome. Julie, off the bat, just give me like the elevator pitch on you. You know, who are you? What do you do? And what got you to where you are today?
Yeah, well, I'm an artist. I guess it's like the typical artist answer of like, I've always loved art ever since I was really young. But I guess the main thing is when I went to undergrad, I went to Mizzou, and going between doing both marketing and art, I just ended up deciding to do marketing just because that's what everyone advised me to do. When I graduated, I did about like 6 months of digital marketing for like these companies, and it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Then I ended up just deciding to go back to school. And so for the past like year and a half, 2 years, I've been getting my MFA at this school in St. Louis. And right now I'm doing that. I'm emphasizing in painting. And I'm also like an elementary school art teacher too, which is definitely unique.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I'm assuming, you know, it's in the arts, but in elementary, that's got to be a different lane for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely weird because on top of that, I'm also like a graduate assistant. So I literally go from teaching kindergartners to teaching undergrads within like a 1 hour span. It's odd. I don't know how to do it very well. I'm still getting used to it.
The mental turnaround. It's got to be exciting.
Yeah, no, the undergrads think it's insane because I will like talk to them like they're kindergartners and it's weird. And then I talk to my kindergartners like they're in college. And so
very fun. And you're speaking to a little bit there. You kind of always, you know, you had this attraction to art, but through marketing, you discovered maybe not marketing for you, but at what point did you clue into like art as a career?
So basically what happened was when I was an undergrad, I wanted to do art, but like there's no good way to go about it that's like secure.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's like pretty secure within art is to become a teacher of some sort. I was looking into it when I was an undergrad and I wanted to become an art professor. So that's actually like why I'm doing this, is to end up teaching at the college level. I don't know. It's like the more I go into it, the more I realize how many different opportunities there really are in the art field. I've worked in some galleries too, and it's one of those things where as long as you like kind of dive into like what you're into, you're going to find all of these different opportunities. The more I go into it, the more opportunities present themselves, and it's kind of interesting how it all plays out.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I'd imagine, as much with anything, like the deeper you dive into it, you find there's so many niches that you would have never known about.
Yeah, there really are. And especially with like the internet and how hesitant a lot of people in the art world are to like using it and utilizing it. It's brought even more opportunities to like some of my professors that I learned so much from are like now starting to come to me to ask like, how do I use social media? How do I use the internet? If I wanted to do online lessons, how should I go about it? Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. it's really cool to see like how people who are a little bit older are learning more ways that they can kind of advance their careers within art.
Yeah, we are at an intersection, at least maybe like the past 5-10 years, of just how much of our presence is online. And especially, of course, in 2020, which is just insane. Yeah.
Has definitely been insane. I don't know. I can't help but like kind of look at the brighter side of it. I think that's my only way of like coping through it, is to like just look at how the good pieces of 2020, few and far between, but I kind of like to only focus on those.
Totally. Very fair. And you found such a lovely community online. I really enjoy all the comments on your videos are so sweet, and they ask really great questions.
I'm really lucky with that. The only mean comments I'll ever get are like art related. So I'm very lucky that like everyone's been very nice. I definitely appreciate that.
Totally. And speaking maybe from a little bit of experience, like having a ton of eyes on you and your work can affect you to a certain degree. Have you noticed a change in you or your work, or is it business as usual?
Kind of, just because as of right now, I haven't even told anyone on the internet, like my artist statement, what my work's about or anything. I kind of like that at this point because I'm still sorting through it and I can see how people are responding to it without any context. And so it's gotten to the point where people will comment that they felt related to a piece that I make. I will then take that as like, okay, something was successful in this painting or this drawing. And then I'll kind of lean into that for the next one. And so it does affect me and my work because I'm like, obviously I want my work to relate to other people. So I guess it does. Yeah.
Totally. And that's so important. And the artist journey, less traveled for a few reasons. It's not difficulty free.
No, definitely not.
What's the hardest struggle you've endured as an artist?
So like I said, it's only been the past like 1.5, 2 years that I've really been doing it full time. And I think the hardest part is definitely like, I mean, today I started my day at 6 a.m. and now it's almost 8:30 and I still probably have another hour or two left of work, like sorting through emails and stuff. And so it's just like, it's a lot more work than most people would think, because a lot of people, even my friends sometimes, will think that I literally just go to my studio and I paint around and it's like a peaceful, like the romanticized idea of creating art. That's like so not the case. There's like a lot more time like answering emails, going to the wood shop, making panels, making frames, like doing these things that people just don't want to do. And it takes a toll on like your life being sleep deprived and also not being able to go and see your friends all the time and not being able to see my family all the time. It's a give and take because I'm working my ass off, but it's like some of my friends don't like really see why I'm not being able to like go and hang out and see them all the time. So it definitely takes a toll on like my relationships, which is really tough to see. I guess it's worth it. Maybe we'll see.
But I guess it comes back to like, would you rather be doing anything else?
Oh, no.
Yes.
No way. No way ever. Because that's the thing is when I was working in a cubicle, my sister actually thought I was the most dramatic person ever because I was having like there was a couple times when I had like full on anxiety attacks in the cubicle because I was like, I'm wasting my time. Like, this is not where I'm supposed to be. And it like literally just felt like hell. I can't imagine doing anything else because I've tried other things. And even when I have a great company culture and a great job or a decent job, it was never great. It's not worth it.
Yeah, if it's not sitting right with, who you are at your core.
No, not at all.
Well, I'm glad you found this.
Yeah, me too.
Julie, I want to thank you again for taking time every day to speak with me. But in closing, I was wondering, because art is so often a journey to the end, the product can be super unclear until you put those finishing touches on. As you're speaking to, there's 100 of these small things that go into a piece of art.
Right.
What advice would you give to someone who's struggling to see that value in their work? They're stuck in the process.
This is kind of hard because I think whenever you're on your artistic journey, you'll have great paintings that just don't have any magic in them. And then you'll have bad paintings that have like a small moment of magic. And it's like, it's hard to describe, but there's usually at least one part of any type of artwork that just works. And Like I said, even with the TikTok stuff and everything, it's like finding something that works and then leaning into it. Don't overdo it. Just next time, keep that in mind. And I mean, the more you keep that magic going, it works itself out. It's just kind of, it's like doing reps. You just have to keep doing it until it all works out. I don't know if that's good advice.
No,
but
I like that.
it's something.
That reminds me, before this project started, I had like my first adult job was in copywriting and online web design type stuff. Kind of in the neighborhood of marketing. Like same, it was hell.
Yeah, it's horrible.
As you're speaking to it, it's like refining the process, finding your niche. And like in marketing, it's all about A/B testing and finding, what gets the response. So there is a little crossover there.
There's a lot more crossover than you would think. And I think that even though I hated my time in marketing, it definitely benefited me. I hate to admit it, but it was necessary for me to have those jobs in order for me to do what I'm doing now.
Hard to see in the moment, but maybe glad to have now.
Definitely. Like, I wouldn't change anything, but it was definitely weird at the time.
I believe it. Well, that's about it. Thank you again so much for sharing your words and your story.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Well, I'll leave you to it. I wish you a lovely rest of the day, and I'll definitely be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Ciao.
Hey Brad, I'm Ernesto. I'm calling from Mexico, and I see silver linings in every conversation I have with my friends. I think despite everything that's going on, having a Zoom meeting or simply a call, it's just great and reminds me that we are going to get through this, and I am not alone.
We'll try and not be so chaotic.
It's all good. It's all good.
Because we like you, so.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I hate you both so much. So how this goes is I say, where are you calling from?
Victoria, BC.
Quinn tried to count down from 3 and he started at 2. And then went 3 and then 1.
Whew. Okay.
We got through the intro. It's good enough for today.
Because you're literally like a 5-minute drive away, which is very cool. Thank you for moving closer.
Our pleasure. It was just based off of the location that you live at.
To clarify, we did not move cross province or country. We just moved like 7 minutes closer.
Yeah.
But closer to Brad.
Which has been so convenient.
It has. It's been wonderful.
So for 90% of the people who have no idea what's going on right now, who are you? Give me the pitch. Tell me who you are, what you do, and in general, kind of what got you to where you are today.
That's a loaded question, Bradley. Many years ago, grade 6, and this chump of a kid came to school, his name was Brad. And I thought he was the coolest guy I've ever met, and I basically wanted to be Brad. So I followed you around a lot.
I followed you around. I wanted to be you.
And then...
You wanted to be me so much you stole my girl.
No. Then I realized that I was the best in high school.
Yes. There we go. That's the Quinn I know.
And then we became good friends. I feel like elementary was like we were kind of still doing our own thing, but then high school we kind of just grew closer and closer together.
Even when it got to the later grades where there was enough lockers that the older grades could have their own lockers, I still wanted to share lockers with you.
Aww, I didn't know that.
Which one of us had like never used the locker?
It was definitely one of us. I could not tell you who. I feel like
I think Brad never used it because I had the lock. It was my lock, and I remember the code, I think.
And I had a huge backpack. I'd take everything around in. Yeah, that sounds about right.
We grew up playing video games, learning instruments, and having our first all-nighter.
Yeah. And what do you do now?
And then I graduated, and then I got a business degree because I was like, what's useful? And I think business, and I might as well do that. And I was basically like, I should get a degree as fast as possible because I hate school with a burning passion. So I'll just get this degree. I got a job as an office admin, and my bosses liked me so much that they put me into school for drafting. And now I draw maps and blueprints and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's like the perfect mix between art, math, and computers. And I do all those. I made board games for a while. They were usually a fail, but one was pretty good. It was about cats.
Hey, they were all really good. Well, most of them were really good.
Yeah, now I just kind of draw things for fun every once in a while, and I have a regular job. And, yeah, at some point I met Louise, my beautiful wife.
clear which one of the two of us he prefers, Brad. And on about lockers with you.
While I was getting my degree, I was working at a restaurant, and I met Louise there. She told me I looked like Bo Burnham, and that was when I knew she was into me. I was taken at the time, but then things went sideways.
By taken, you mean you were in a relationship? You weren't kidnapped?
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Not that time.
Not that time. That's another story.
And that ended. I was basically chill with being single for a while because I've basically been in a relationship since I was 15 or something. Then Louise and I started talking, but I wasn't like super like eager to get into a relationship, but we basically never stopped talking and all of our conversations were fun and engaging. And then I asked her out the month or 2 months after we actually started talking, 3 months. And now it's 4 years. Yeah. And we got married last year before the end of the world.
And Louise?
And me. Hi, I'm Louise. I
Hi.
was born and raised in Victoria. I decided after I graduated high school that I wanted to go to school for nursing, but I was a very, very bad student in high school, and my goal was just to graduate, so I had to do some upgrading. And while I was upgrading, I started doing creative writing, and I fell in love with writing. And then I took a little sideways course of action where I decided to go do an exchange in the UK for my creative writing degree. Met a lot of friends, got to do some traveling, lived life. And then when I came back to Victoria, I thought, okay, time to settle down and get into nursing. So I have 2 degrees, one's in creative writing, one's in nursing. And I just graduated last year and I work as a nurse.
And now we have a family. Well, not really. We were married and we have a cat and her name is Tofu.
I have been thinking recently about how our life, you know how like you watch a movie and then the end credits roll and then you kind of think, wow, I wonder what the rest of their life is like. I feel like the end credits recently rolled for us and we're just like enjoying the afterglow of defeating the final boss that was adulthood.
No, now we're on the sequel where it started with Tofu.
Very good. And that kind of leads perfectly into my next thing. It's like, how does it feel to now have a house, a cat, a life that you kind of own together?
It's lovely. Like I never have found joy in the mundane before. I've always had like really bad anxiety issues, and especially like anxiety around like I always want life to be fun. There's something just enjoyable about always having your best friend around and just being able to come home and play video games together and relax or watch The Office or go for hikes. And so like every day is still a bit of an adventure and we're still learning and growing. So that's really fun too. But it's definitely like finding a new part of yourself. Quinn, your turn.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I would basically echo a lot of what Louise has said. When you find someone that is your soulmate, it's life-changing because you always have someone, like some people don't communicate as much or whatnot, depending. But since the beginning of our relationship, we always talk. And have always talked, and we never seem to get on each other's nerves necessarily. It's just always a supportive giving and taking relationship that is a balance. I don't think relationships are like a 50-50 or 100-100, however people think or whatever. I think it's more like a clock where sometimes one person has to give more and take more, or the other person takes more and vice versa. Like, I think you grow from hardships and you grow from, even when you fight, you have to have the mentality that you are in it together against the problem. And at the time, and even after the time, it can still seem like it was that person's fault. But there's always a little thing at the back of my head, and probably at the back of your head, where it's not relationship ending or a relationship issue. It's us working to get better.
Like bettering ourselves individually and bettering our relationship too.
Yeah. And we're still learning things about each other.
Totally.
And it's cool to basically go every day where you have someone to talk to that is just growing with you.
Yeah, I was even thinking today, I was like, wow, we like didn't ever have to change our diet or anything. Like we all like the same foods. Like just even little things like that where it's like I didn't have to give up a bunch of things because Quinn and I are just so similar, which is like, yeah, big blessing.
And you can, sorry, you go.
No, you go. I'll fight you.
And you can grow as a person and you can grow with your friends and you can have lifelong friends, but it's not necessarily the same because I think you grow separately from your friends and people move on or they develop new things. But with like a relationship that is so strong, you grow together and that's special and different and unique.
It's amazing. It's everything I ever hoped for and dreamed about and didn't think was actually real.
Damn.
And yeah, it's pretty cool.
See, having you guys as like my very closest friends is so heartwarming, but then also I've never felt more single in my life. I take it all and I appreciate it. And a little bit what you touched on there, because what you've shared from me, you've had, and obviously don't have to go into explicit details or anything, you've had a fair share of similar life difficulties that maybe helped you grow in a positive way together. Has your approach to life challenges changed since being together?
It's been too long. I can't remember since before.
I think my approach has changed. I feel like being with Quinn and just having that like security blanket has made me have the ability to like process more things in my life than I ever felt like I could. Or like approach and tackle different things. Like I said, like I have anxiety issues. I've had a history of depression. My family has a lot of mental illness problems. And so I feel like my first like all through teenagehood was like fight or flight, just get through this, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate in their teenage years. And then just having the stability of Quinn has made me be able to like anything that comes at me individually or even us, it's like we can fight together, whether it be like internal struggles or external, or it's nice having a best friend to guide you through that.
Being with someone with someone who wants to solve or wants to help solve your problems or help you move through your problems, it provides you with a different perspective of what you do when you have an issue.
Right.
And it took me until being with Louise to realize that if I have a pretty big issue or if I'm going through a tough time, that I just close off and basically process it. I don't cry for help or look to others necessarily. Like I'm still practicing this where I need to be able to reach out when I need help instead of just trying to deal with it by myself.
We're very opposite in that way. Like the fact that you recognize that you close off. Like I've had to learn how to speak Quinn body language a little bit to like understand what's going on. And I think I'm good at it. But it's also nice that he's willing to, after whatever, he's willing to work more on being more communicative too. So that learning another language isn't as hard that way. Really good character trait of yours, Quinn.
What?
Is the willingness.
I stopped listening while I was talking.
Just your willingness to adapt and to grow and to not, I don't know, we're both pretty stubborn people, so I think it's always, but when it comes to each other, we're always willing to like, usually willing to.
Very cool.
It's not all sunshine and rainbows either.
Yeah, well, I think it'd be boring if it was.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't have good times without the bad.
Very true, very beautiful. Thank you.
I just read it in a book I was reading.
So that's about it. I want to, of course, thank you for taking time out of your day and speaking with me. But in closing, I was wondering, this week's prompt was about silver linings, because especially in 2020, those are needed. What advice could you give to someone who's struggling to see the good in the world around them? Because out of all my friends, I just adore how you approach life with such vigor and such enthusiasm. What advice would you give to someone who wants to live in that way?
Hang on, Quinn's Googling what a silver lining is.
I'm trying to type quietly.
Quietly while you're speaking. Hang on, I actually wrote something down about this. One sec.
Go for it.
I was thinking of it today. Quinn's still Googling what a silver lining is in the meantime.
Silver Linings Playbook is a 2012 American romantic comedy drama film. Now that I have a regular job and every day is basically the same, I think that the highest points of life day to day are your interactions with people. We judge ourselves on our intentions, but we judge others on their actions. Your perspective of other people will change your day drastically. If you think people are out to get you or don't care about you or whatever, or if you think that you're bothering them, personally, I think that changes your outlook on life. And so I come at most conversations with people that it's going to be beneficial, even if it's just saying hi or how's it going or whatever. And you never know how much your smile can change someone else's.
Yeah.
It's not a very good answer, but
I thought it was good.
That's a lovely answer. Thank you.
But you put lots of thought in it. Okay, my silver lining advice is if you're a person who enjoys being in control or having certainty, these times are probably an incredible struggle for you. but being certain and being in control of your path doesn't allow for change or for growth. And while it's scary, change and growth leads to wonderful opportunities and things you may have never thought possible. And I think an excellent example of that is Blond Radio being born, because that wouldn't exist without, everything else that pushed you onto this path.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
And I never would have met Brad without Blond Radio.
Yeah, times are tough. Be positive. Reach out to those around you. Try and have an open mind for what the future is going to hold.
I like what you said / wrote there as far as like uncertainty breeding change, because it's like, yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen, but also that's like a little bit low-key exciting because it's like mixing it up a bit.
Exactly. It's like when you feel like you're at the very bottom, like you've hit rock bottom and the only way to go is up.
Oh, definitely.
Which I know is super cliche.
No, I've slid that in
so
some bad
true.
poetry before. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for, again, making time and telling me about you and your story and your journey.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks for being my best friend all these years.
Kiss, kiss. I love you, Quinn and Louise.
Sorry, I'm the weird one that's like actually in this. I'm the single person.
Yeah.
Is there something weird about being single, Louise? Or?
And that's Blond Radio signing out.
Okay, I'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Special thanks to Elise, Julie, Quinn, and Louise for making this episode possible, as well as everyone who submitted a response to the prompt. Intro music provided by Wayfie, that's Wayfie, and accompanying tracks by Lowboil, that's Loboil, who can both be found on all major streaming platforms. I'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in to Blond Radio.